In web design, we often spend a lot of time talking about the content that appears above the fold. So that's anything that appears on a web page before you need to start scrolling down. But we don't really spend all that much time considering the content in your website footer, which is still very important. A well-designed website footer can serve as kind of a last-ditch effort to keep visitors on your website. If they scroll to the bottom of a page and they still haven't found the information that they're looking for, they might leave the website, or they might be prompted by a footer to take a different action, whether that is further navigating the website using a navigation menu, or searching for something, clicking on your social media, maybe picking up the phone because they're prompted with a clickable phone number. You can encourage a lot of different actions with a good website footer. A website footer also helps with your SEO because Google and other search engines can easily get a sense of the kind of content that you have on your website and how easy it is to navigate. Plus, a website footer gives your website visitors a sense of continuity, so it's a great design choice in that regard, because regardless of what page your website user is on, when they scroll to the bottom they will find the same thing there. So what should you put in your website footer? So there are certain standard website design conventions that most consumers have come to expect. So there are a few key things that you definitely need to have in your footer, and there's also a few other options that you can include as well if you want to add a little extra value or a few extra choices to your website visitors. So most importantly, you want to have your contact information. You're likely going to have at least some of this in your header as well. So a phone number, an email address, and your physical address. Alongside this, you would want your social media links. This is another one that you might have in your header, but it doesn't hurt to have it in both locations. People will expect it to be in one or the other, so both is fine too. If people have made it all the way to the footer of your website, it's likely that they're still looking for information, so you could include a search box or a link to your FAQs in this area. You might also like to include a newsletter sign-up form. That's a pretty standard inclusion, or a different call to action, which might be a book now or a go to shop, a button that asks them to take an action. You might use a footer to build brand trust by including your industry membership accreditations, any awards that you've won, any certificates that you have that will add value to the product or the service that you provide. An expanded navigation menu is also another great option. It really gives users a clear sense of where they can go to find different information rather than scrolling through a bunch of drop-down menu items in the header menu that you should have as well. It's also a great opportunity to reinforce your brand's mission statement or your unique selling proposition. And finally, for Australian businesses, this is, or any country where you have a First Nations population, it's a great opportunity to put an acknowledgement of country. And if you have a look at the blog post associated with this video, there's a link to Black Business who've written a great guide on how to write a very meaningful acknowledgement of country. So if you're confident enough in editing your own website, then you can take a look at this list and compare it to what you currently have on your website and start making some changes today. Otherwise, write a bit of a to-do list or a checklist for your web developer and work with them to come up with something that's a little bit more effective for your business and that will serve your customers better.